All right, let's jump right into this. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're navigating a space that gets, honestly, pretty blurry. We're talking about the legal, ethical, and regulatory boundaries of information assurance. And to make sense of all the theory, we're going to look at a very real-world, high-stakes scenario.
So, picture this. You've got an employee who suddenly discovers a juicy software vulnerability in their company's financial system. But instead of doing the right thing and flagging it for IT, they decide to exploit it. They go snooping through confidential payroll and passenger records. Now, right off the bat, was that ethical? And maybe more importantly, was it actually legal? Let's figure out exactly where the line gets drawn in the sand here.
To unpack this whole mess, here's our roadmap for today. 1. The cybersecurity dilemma. 2. Ethics in information security. 3. Intellectual property and privacy. 4. Philippines cybercrime laws. And finally, 5. Aviation sector compliance.
Section 1. The cybersecurity dilemma. Section 2. Ethics in information security.
Okay, so what do we actually mean by ethics in this space? Basically, it's the responsible and professional conduct we expect when anyone is accessing, managing, or protecting systems. Here's the kicker, though. An action might technically bypass a legal tripwire, but still be a massive ethical failure. As security professionals, you guys hold the literal keys to the kingdom. So ethics, that's the absolute foundation of your professional trust. And we actually measure that trust against some really fundamental principles. We're talking integrity, acting honestly, no deception, confidentiality, only accessing sensitive info when you're actually authorized to do so, plus accountability, professional competence, respect for privacy, and fairness. Now, think back to our rogue employee. By digging into those payroll and passenger records just because they could, man, they completely shattered confidentiality and integrity. Just a total ethical collapse across the board.
Section 3. Intellectual property and privacy. Now, when you're operating in the Philippines, you've got to navigate this wild alphabet soup of laws. It breaks down kind of like this. RAA 293 is your intellectual property code, which protects software and innovation. Then you have RA 10173, the Data Privacy Act. RA 10175 handles cybercrime, and RA 8792 secures your e-commerce. Our rogue employee didn't just break some unwritten moral code, they practically sprinted through a minefield and tripped several of these legal landmines with a single keystroke.
Let's really zoom in on Republic Act No. 10173 for a second, the Data Privacy Act of 2012. This establishes the absolute ground rules for the lawful processing of personal data. And remember, personal data is anything that identifies a real person. Names, addresses, salaries. By stealing that info, our rogue employee triggered direct legal violations right here. Because at the end of the day, they weren't just messing with abstract company data. That data belongs to actual human beings on those flights and payrolls.
And why exactly is this illegal? Well, look at the core principles here, especially purpose limitation and data minimization. Purpose limitation basically means you can only use data for the specific legitimate reasons it was collected for in the first place, right? Payroll data is collected to, pay people. It's not there so a bored coworker can snoop around or exploit it for a quick buck. Completely bypassing that intended purpose, that is a massive, actionable legal breach.
Section 4. Philippines cybercrime laws.
So while Republic Act 8792, the E-commerce Act, validates secure digital transactions, Republic Act No. 11075, the Cybercrime Prevention Act, that one is the hammer. It explicitly defines hard offenses like illegal access, data interference, and identity theft. This is what gives authorities the real legal teeth to criminally investigate and prosecute the exact kind of stunt our rogue employee pulled. We're no longer talking about getting a slap on the wrist from HR. We are talking about serious prison time.
Section 5. Aviation sector compliance.
Now let's look at how all of this applies to the aviation sector, because they process massive volumes of personal, operational, and safety-critical data every single second. We're talking about protecting passenger info, securing aircraft software IP, and preventing unauthorized access to communication networks. In aviation, a data breach isn't just a bad PR day or a fine from a regulator. It can literally compromise passenger safety and throw international flight operations into total chaos. The stakes absolutely could not be higher here.
So managing those sky-high stakes requires a really holistic approach. Aware, prepare, protect. It connects the whole shebang: confidentiality, integrity, availability, and privacy. Security professionals have to constantly be aware of the ethical and legal landscapes, prepare for both internal and external threats, and actively protect systems.
All of this is to maintain the ultimate currency, organizational trust. It's a never-ending, zero-compromise cycle. I want to leave you with this final thought. If you stumbled onto a critical software vulnerability in your organization's financial system today, what's your very first move? Because, as we've seen, the line between an honest mistake, a massive ethical lapse, and a full-blown cybercrime is literally just a few keystrokes wide. Will your moral compass hold true when no one is watching? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Stay secure and stay ethical.